Greetings, my fellow freedom lovers and sovereign thinkers. This is LL3's newest podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful Swampy Mangoes of South Florida. And today's date, Tuesday, May 3rd, 2016. Yeah, it's going to be a pretty short one segment or episode, but I'm going to do a few, which is very, very interesting. So, just checking in. And this is actually Navy or Military Appreciation or Fleet Week. So you got folks from the Navy and the Army roaming around South Florida. And I'd like to thank all those for serving. Plus, always remember, when you really let this really sink in, and I say this out of love and in good faith, support and think about protecting the Republic rather than an empire. Condemn the military-industrial complex machine. Because in reality, they don't really give a damn about any of us, including my fellow freedom-loving, sovereign-thinking individuals that are serving in the armed forces. Have you guys be safe here and beyond. And now, enough said. First, I'm going to be doing a couple from Activist Post and from New Eastern Outlook. This one here came from Derek Rose, came out today. It says here, hundreds of pages of TTIP agreement leaked. As it reads here, Greenpeace has leaked hundreds of pages of the controversial transatlantic trade and investment partnership, which shows that negotiations may be in danger of collapsing. According to newly leaked documents, the United States and the European Union are divided on certain agreements to the transatlantic trade and investment partnership. After releasing the documents, Greenpeace Netherlands stated these documents make clear the scale and scope of the trade that citizens of the United States and the European Union are being asked to make in pursuit of corporate profits. It is time for negotiations to stop and the debate to begin. Should we be able to act when we have reasonable grounds to believe our health and well-being is at risk, or we must wait until the damage is done? The TTIP has been negotiated in secret, and the only information available to the public has come unofficially now that we can see the actual text. The EU negotiators have nowhere left to hide. John Hillary's executive order of war on want told The Independent the gloves are off and they know they are in for a proper fight. The Independent reports that the documents indicate that the U.S. is attempting to change regulation in Europe to lower environmental protections, consumer rights, and other policies important to EU citizens. The document shows that trade representatives on both sides of the Atlantic Ocean have experienced irreconcilable differences that could possibly interfere with negotiations. Greenpeace complains that corporations are being granted a privileged voice in important reasons and intervening at the earliest stage of the decision-making process. TTIP is being cooked up behind closed doors because when ordinary people find out about the threat it poses to democracy and consumer protections, and they are, of course, opposed to it, said Guy Taylor, trade campaigner at Global Justice Now. It is no secret that the negotiations have been on increasingly shaky ground. Millions of people across Europe have signed petitions against TTIP, and hundreds of thousands have taken to the streets to call for an end of the negotiations. Just weeks ago, Activist Post reported an estimate 40,000, 90,000 people marched against the trade deal in Hanover, Germany. The protests were organized by an anti-free trade alliance made up of numerous groups, including free trade unions, environmental activists, and church groups. There has been massive opposition to the TTIP in Germany. In April 2015, thousands of Germans also took it to the streets to oppose the TTIP. In 2015, Reuters report that a recent YouGov poll showed that 43% of the Germans believe TTIP would be bad for their country, compared to 26% who see it as positive. In a recent survey by Germany's Bertelsmann Foundation, only 1 in 5 Germans said they were in favor of TTIP still. Merkel told the press that adopting the TTIP would help European economies grow. We need to speed matters up now, said the Obama praised Merkel, calling her consistent and ready leader. Oh, what a wet dream, I would say, my friends. Supporters of the TTIP believe the deal will make trade cheaper and easier while boosting the economy. Opponents of the agreement have focused on dangers to the environmental and consumer protections. During the press conference, Obama said it was necessary to enact the TTIP because 95% of the markets are outside of the United States. If you're a bend over Bob to New World Order, you'll say the same thing. President Obama said he was confident the TTIP would be finished by the end of the year and that the Trans-Pacific Partnership, TTP, which covers 12 nations, would start moving forward after the presidential election. The TTIP is the European version of the TTP. The TPP has faced waves of resistance over the last several years from the same corporate influence that has tainted negotiations of the TTIP. That's right, our Lord and Savior, Barack Obama, who was a bend over Bob, teleprompting reading stooge as usual. Another patsy. He goes, okay, boss, I'll do as I say. I'll read it for my own well-being so I can protect my own little behind. Well, the truth of the matter is, my friends, this is more of a technocratic corporate takeover. Fascism worldwide, or global fascism, you can say. I remember in my past episodes, even with the whole March Against Monsanto, many people oppose the TTP, okay, which is considered the road to technocracy, and even gentlemen such as Fred Frost from the Communication Workers of America agree with me completely. So has to stop. This is nothing more than a monumental lie. One World Order 101. It'll be cheaper, please. They want to have more sweatshops and treat us like numbers. They probably put chips in their bodies to work with these disgusting entities. Well, the truth of the matter is, my friends, we all got to tell them to stick it. Because remember, without us, they're nothing. And that's all I got to say about that. Next one. Give the activist post as well. This comes from Michael Snyder, who does stuff for End of America, the Economic Collapse blog, and many others. He's really good. And it says here, the new digital cash system was just unveiled at a secret meeting for bankers in New York. Last month, a secret meeting that involved more than 100 executives from some of the biggest financial institutions in the United States was held in New York City. During this secret meeting, as a company known as Chain unveiled a technology that transforms U.S. dollars into pure digital assets. Reportedly, there were representatives from NASDAQ, Citigroup, Visa, Fidelity, Fiserv, and Pfizer in the room. Chemical companies. Oh, yeah. And Chain also claimed to be partnering with Capital One, State Street, and First Data. This revolutionary technology is intended to completely change the way we use money, and it would represent a major step toward a cashless society. But if this new digital cash system is going to be so good for society, why is it unveiled during a secret meeting for Wall Street bankers? Is there something more going on here than we're being told? None of us probably would ever heard about the secret meeting if it was not a report in Bloomberg. The following comes from the article inside a secret meeting where Wall Street tested digital cash. On a recent Monday in April, more than 100 executives from the world, some from the world's largest financial institutions, gathered for a private meeting at the Times Square office of NASDAQ Inc. They weren't just to talk about blockchain, the new technology some predict will transform finance, but to build and experiment with the software. By the end of the day, they had seen something revolutionary. U.S. dollars transformed into pure digital assets, able to use to executive and to settle trade instantly. Bing! A magic lamp theory, I would say, right? Where's my genie bottle? That's the promise of a blockchain where the cumbersome and error-prone system that takes days to move money across town around the world is replaced with most instant certainty. So this is not just from Michael Snyder from Economic Collapse blog that is referring is gathering as a secret meeting. This is actually how it was described by Bloomberg, mainstream newspaper, right? I think is very good reason why this meeting was held in secret because many in the general public will definitely be alarmed by this giant step toward a cashless society. Here is more of this new system from Bloomberg. I know my voice is a little bit dried up here, so one moment, my friends. Sorry about that. While cash in a bank account moves electronically all the time today, the distinction between that system and what it means to say money is digital. Electronic payments are really just messages that cash needs to move from one account to another. And this reconciliation is what adds time to the payments process for customers moving money between accounts and can take days as banks wait for confirmations. Digital dollars, however, are preloaded into a system like a blockchain. From there, they can be swiped immediately for an asset. Instant record, instant of a record of, or message being moved is actually actual asset. Lundwin said the payment and settlement become the same thing. Why is it so alarming? Is because we are seeing other major moves for a cashless system all over the planet. In Sweden, 95% of all retail transactions are already cashless. And ATM machines are being removed by the hundreds. In Denmark, government officials actually have stated a goal of eradicating cash by the year 2030. And in Norway, the biggest bank in the country has publicly called for the complete elimination of all cash. They want you to all be slaves. Hallelujah. Others in the nations in Europe have already banned cash transactions over a certain amount. Here are just a couple of examples. There's links on here too. You can see it for yourself. As I have written about previously, cash transactions of more than 2,500 euros have already been banned in Spain, and France and Italy have all both banned all cash transactions more than 1,000 euros. Yes, the government's trying to tell you you can't take care of your own cash. You are irresponsible people, and they believe they know better than you. Wake up, my fellow brothers and sisters in Europe. You are just an example of the one world order victims. Little by little, cash is being eradicated, and what we have seen so far is just the beginning. 114 billion cashless transactions were conducted in 2014. The final number for 2015 is projected to be much higher. The global push toward a cashless society is going to intensify because banks and governments both tend to really like the idea of such a system. You'd be kicking yourself for not picking up silver at these prices. There's an ad for that. I'm just like to have fun here. Banks really like the concept of cash society because it would force everyone to be their customers. Could we say conscription, involuntary servitude, or be our slaves? There would be no more hiding cash in the mattress at home or trying to pay all your bills without paper money. Under a cashless system, we would all be dependent on the banks, and they would make lots of money whenever we swiped our cards or our chips or scanned. Governments see a lot of advantages in a cashless society as well. They tell us that they would be able to crack down on drug dealers, tax evaders, terrorists, and money launderers, but the truth is that it would enable them to watch, track, monitor, and control virtually all of our financial transactions. Could we all stand up and go, all hail Big Brother, 1984? Our lives would become open books to the government, and financial privacy would be the thing of the past. In addition, the potential for tyranny would be absolutely off the charts. Just imagine a world where the government can serve as the gatekeeper for who is allowed to use cashless system and who is not. They could require that we all submit some sort of government-issued form of identification before being permitted to operate within the system. Or is it even conceivable that a loyalty oath would be required? Maybe you might have to check your sperm count too, as well, my friends. Of course, if you do not submit to their demands, you could not buy, open a bank account, or get a job without access to the cashless system. Hopefully, people can understand where this is going. Paper money is a very important component of our freedom, and if it's taken away from us, the door will be open for all sorts of abuse. Even now, cash is slowly being criminalized in America. For example, if a cash is used to pay for a hotel room, that's considered by federal authorities to be suspicious activity that should be reported to the government. Kind of, sort of. It's the only way. Kind of, sort of. Will get us through the day. A sumptuous tattletales, I would say. Of course, it is against the law to pay your hotel bill in cash just yet. But according to the government, it is. If this is something that terrorists do, it needs to be closely watched. But if you work for the government and exercise tyranny, you're okay. All hail to Homeland Security. It doesn't take a whole lot of imagination to see where all of this is going. And all those of us that understand what time it is, this is a clear indication that it's getting late in the game. Yes, and this has been talked about for years, my friends, about a cashless society. It's very dangerous for every beautiful human being on this planet. So I recommend everyone out there to invest in gold and silver and create our own system that we all benefit, not these vultures from the big banks the tyrannical governments, whatever country you're from, the one world order. This is what those bastards want. They want us to make us submit, make us all into part of the technocratic plantation. This is farly, absolutely unacceptable and treasonous to anyone in the United States that will support this disgusting project. I spit on them and have no shame. And I am going to go on to one more. This came out a couple of days ago. This is by F. William Enegal. It says, it's entitled, it's from the New Eastern Outlook. Good stuff. Check it out. Panama Papers, sheep dip CIA dirty ops. It says here, it stinks worse than the surfeit of skunks crashing a Texas 4th of July picnic. Look at even the superficial facts of the so-called Panama Papers. As New Jersey mainstream pro-NATO newspaper editor, we are told an anonymous gift of alleged files of thousands of high net worth tax dodgers from around the world to read the front pages of the major mainstream Western newspapers or BBC or CNN. These past days, one would be conceived that some hacker had uncovered smoking gun proof that Russia's Vladimir Putin, along with China President Xi Jinping and other enemies of the Washington agenda, has stashed billions in secret accounts managed by a Panama law firm called Mossack Fonseca, with no explanation how or from whom. The Saduce Xinjiang says it came into possession of 11.5 million confidential documents that sent by someone they never met who went by the anonymous name John Doe, a typical moniker. Panama Papers handover was done a year ago with, we are told, detailed information about more than 124,000 offshore companies listed by the Panama law firm Mossack Fonseca. The final cachet contains the identities of shareholders and directors of the offshore companies. Immediately, today, Xinjiang's editors said they contacted a highly select cabal of group of journalists, and a year later, with precise timing, Western mainstream corporate-owned media have now begun coordinated, orchestrated, selective leaks of alleged contents. Now it gets quite interesting. The Sadeche Zitang was perhaps unwillingly helpful for genuine investigative journalists in detailing the methodology the mainstream media journalists holding the huge fund file cache used to find certain offshore tax dodgers. They simply did a data search for any names associated with sanction-breaking dealings of UN sanctioned regimes that naturally target regimes pursuing policies inimical to the U.S., which pushes almost all economic sanctions these days. So abracadabra names from North Korea, Russia, Syria, Zimbabwe features, and Zimbabwe features in the expose. Exposés. Okay. The Panama Papers is being promoted as the largest league journalists have ever worked with. ICIJ. The Sadeche Zintang editors also stated proudly on their website they immediately decided to go to an organization called the International Consortium of Investigative Journalism to help them decide how to deal with the huge store of stolen data files they had come into. We might ask, what exactly is the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, or ICIJ? We do a little investigating of Consortium for Investigative Journalists, or ICIJ. It turns out ICIJ is a global network of more than 190 investigative journalists in more than 65 countries who collaborate on in-depth investigative stories found in 1997. Sorry about that. ICIJ was launched as a project of the Center for Public Integrity to extend the center style of watchdog journalism focusing on issues that do not stop at national frontiers, cross-border crimes, corruption, and the accountability of power. Gosh, this really sounds like a noble, selfless organization of heroic journalists seeking truth, justice, and the American way of life. As Clark Kent used to say in the Superman TV series, the only thing it isn't. First, let's investigate the founder and funder of ICIJ. It is the Washington-based Center for Public Integrity. Their name, something of an oxymoron in today's Washington, where public integrity seems to be very out of fashion. The Center for Public Integrity, according to its website, was founded in 1989 to serve democracy by revealing the abuses of power, corruption, and betrayal of public trust by powerful public and private institutions. They neglect to say they are very selective in whose corruption they reveal. They very much so to do with the Panama Papers were so significant Western names such as George Soros or David Rockefeller or Bill Gates or countless of other U.S. or EU figures are named other than a few expendables such as Prime Minister of Iceland or the father of David Cameron or several former heads of government in places like Iraq are no consequences for Washington. In fact, as the Saker points out of the analysts of the CIA, Panama Dirty Ops, the leaked names, not a single American citizen, not one. The best I found was Tina Turner, American-born Swiss singer. The only other American mentioned are four indicted or convicted U.S. citizens accused of or convicted of serious financial crimes, including securities fraud, but that are not convicted financial fraudsters and inside trader George Soros, who does all his serious business offshore. He finances the game. If we follow the money trail for the Center of Public Integrity, we found the following listed financial sugar daddies among as George Soros Open Society Foundations, Rockefeller Brothers Fund, Rockefeller Family Fund, Carnegie Corporation, Ford Foundation, Foundation for National Progress, Soros-backed from Mother Jones, Fidelity Broker Services, second largest mutual fund in the world. Right away, we begin to smell those Texas 4th of July picnic skunks behind the selective Panama Papers leaks. This is great. That's why, folks, you always got to observe responsibly. He has to be crazy. For example, let's take a closer look at the Putin revelations revealed in the Panama Papers. To read mainstream UK, German, or US mainstream corporate media press, we would get the impression that the Panama Papers' main expose is hard proof of billions stashed away by the nasty Russian Evil Knievel Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin, known as the West as Vladimir Putin, not to be confused with Vlad the Impaler, who was Romanian. On the first day of the Panama Papers story, Putin's face was on the front page of the most every major NATO country newspaper. BBC News of the UK, one of the elite media given the full Panama Papers document cache, is the sub headline the first day writes. Links to politicians including President Putin, Iceland's Prime Minister exposed. What links to President Putin's actually were found? If we manage to get the past strong impression created by artful headlines and photos of Putin, we find the following hard proof that Putin has stashed a cool $1 billion with the Panama boys of Mossack Fonseca. None. There is nowhere one iota of evidence revealed in the leak of the Panama Papers that Putin or any relatives have stashed their alleged dough offshore. The best they come up with is this Russian cellist from St. Petersburg who was a childhood friend of Putin. The documents leak indicated that Sergei Rologun, a professional cellist described by the anti-Putin Novaya Gazeta as Vladimir Putin's best friend, has required assets worth at least $100 million, including a 12.5% stake in Video International, Russia's largest television advertising firm. Proof sent Putin to the gallows, better off with his head, like the Red Queen would demand in Alice in Wonderland. In the interest of truth, let's look more at Vladimir Putin in this doggy Panama Papers affair. If I imagine, for sake of argument, if I were Putin, the former of Russian intelligence, a lifelong KGB agent, and the master of international networks of the U.S. intelligence, I have to be crazy, plumb out of my mind, to hide money in offshore Panama, a country under total treaty disclosure requirements to U.S. regulators. Panama is an offshore haven for Colombian and Mexican cocaine cartels and is well known worldwide as a fully controlled mailbox dirty offshore entity completely under the thumb of Washington. Excuse me. Would I be so suicidal were I have to have such billions to stash go to Panama of all places? I'm afraid not. On that basis alone, Putin Panama Papers allegations show up as potentiative fraud, CIA's dirty op. Waffen Tokenpov division. Moreover, look at the firm is also revealing, no doubt, KGB files would also have shown that Edward Mossack, father of the Jurgen Mossack, co-founders of Mossack Fonseca, served as a soldier in the Waffen SS during World War II, a member of the savage Totenkopf, which is Death Head's SS division. The Totenkopf members were selected up from the most savage guards of the Nazi concentration camps starting in Auschwitz. Erhard Mossack left Germany to Panama in 1948 with his family, including son Jurgen. While in Panama, Jurgen offered nice guy that he was, to work for the CIA. Hey, if you were a tyrant, you can get a great job with the government. Good call. In short, Langley, Virginia, CIA, or something very close across the Potomac River is behind the Panama Papers. The entire operation is being executed with the sophistication and finesse of an elephant in a Chinese porcelain shop. Hey, what can you say? My friends, when they hype up stuff like this, you gotta always pay attention. It can be a distraction, but if they do it, it's okay. They're your friends. They can say, trust me, I'll protect you, I'll take care of you, and they'll stab you in the back constantly. This is why when I heard about the Panama Papers and everyone's hyping it up, I had to step back, mellow out, didn't go ape. Someone ticked off a higher up. That's how I see about these Panama Papers. And plus, I'm not saying I'm a Putin supporter or I'm going to bow down to him, anything like that. The man has his rough edges as well. But it's always like to find a good patsy, another boogeyman. You have to look at this into a bigger picture, my friends. This is why, hey, accuracy is essential. Beware of the drama, beware of the hype. It can burn all of us when we least expect it. And that is it. I thank everyone for listening to the show. Plus, feel free to download and share this episode, plus all my other archives throughout your social media network. If you have any questions, comments, compliments, criticisms, love letters, hate letters, or you got something interesting you can send me, feel free to do so. However, please correspond with everything with decorum. And do me a favor, don't send me stuff that promotes advertising. I find that pretty insulting, and I say that with love. All right? You can hit me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Freedoms Network, iHeartRadio, and Scene.life. Or you can email me at LokiLuck3, which is number 3, at gmail.com. Before I go, I'm going to play a little song by Chris Geo. Came out a while back, called Global Resistance. It does pertain some language, vulgarity, but don't worry, the song is a great tune. And you can check out Chris Geo at truthfrequencyradio.com, and Cherie too. Great folks, beautiful people, and they're not afraid to speak their minds. So once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that the demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves, keep on spreading the love, and may your guardian spirits be with you. Enjoy the song.
If a criminal group can kill 3,000 of us in broad daylight and suspend the laws of physics and sell this to the people and launch illegal wars and kill over 1 million Iraqis and lie about WMDs in a premeditated fashion, none of us are safe, because this same system is still in control, whether we have George Bush, Barack Obama, or somebody like Rick Perry in 3 years in the White House.
We're living in a cage with invisible walls. The wicked zeitgeist of life making grown men crawl on their knees begging, please save us from the boogeymen funded by the CIA, funneled through Arabian banks like a shank to the neck. They hit you from the back, no sweat. Hold check and watch us shake and take away your freedom. You really don't need them when you're tucked away safe and protected by FEMA. Then you must be a dreamer like the great pretender. Ask the Second Amendment, why I'll never surrender, but I'll never plead the Fifth. When it comes to September, I'ma yell it from the roof and expose the agenda. Time to wake up and open your eyes to the matrix. This is going out to the truthers and patriots. Living free and dying hard, speaking through battle scars. An army of one become the global resistance. Time to wake up and open your eyes to the matrix. This is going out to the truthers and patriots. Living free and dying hard, speaking through battle scars. An army of one becomes a global resistance. Like I was chosen by God, I was sent with a message to destroy the new world order and dispose of the wreckage. I've been broken and tested, reconstructed, invested, injected with truth. Now the truth has me restless, distressed and aggravated as I rally the masses. Out to make you see what I see when I wear my sunglasses. Watch me singing like a bee, but my name ain't Cash. When we confront the tyranny, give them 33 lashes of truth for the youth, for the red, white, and blue. Fuck the mark of the devil and the NAU. Bilderberg, CFR, keep your new world order. We'll live as free men, or we'll die as free soldiers. It's time to wake up and open your eyes to the matrix. This is going out to the truthers and patriots. Living free and dying hard, speaking through battle scars. An army of one becomes a global resistance. It's time to wake up and open your eyes to the matrix. This is going out to the truthers and patriots. Living free and dying hard, speaking through battle scars. An army of one becomes a global resistance.
Let me tell you something, New World. It's too late. You can kill people like me. You can shut us down. You can put us in prison. But people got to taste the truth, and there's nothing on earth you can do to stop this information warfare migration.
It's time to wake up and open your eyes to the matrix. This is going out to the truthers and patriots. Living free and dying hard, speaking through battle scars. An army of one becomes a global resistance. It's time to wake up and open your eyes to the matrix. This is going out to the truthers and patriots. Living free and dying hard, speaking through battle scars. An army of one becomes a global resistance.